Recent reports show that in America, it can take up to $250,000 a year just to stay in the middle class. Even more surprising, half of those earning over $200,000 are still living paycheck to paycheck, suspended over a financial void. High incomes often mask a failure to secure freedom because the earner is operating under a broken set of financial rules. The salary is there, but the underlying system for managing it hasn't evolved. Building wealth requires hitting 4 distinct thresholds: $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, and $10 million. At each of these specific milestones, the strategies for survival change completely. Many high earners stall because they attempt to apply the rules of the $10,000 stage to a $1 million portfolio. Strategies that provide initial security can become traps as your net worth scales. Escaping the cycle depends on identifying your current bracket and abandoning the behaviors that got you there. The first threshold is the $10,000 survival stage. Its sole function is to provide a baseline wall of security against immediate disasters, like an emergency car repair or a sudden loss of income. Survival requires pure offense. You maximize your human capital, acquire high-value skills, and avoid all consumer debt to keep your overhead as low as possible. Once you reach $100,000, you hit the freedom fulcrum. At this level, the primary driver of wealth shifts from your physical labor to the mechanics of mathematics. This specific marker is often called the quarter waypoint to $1 million. While it is nominally 10% of the goal, the time and effort required to save that first $100,000 often accounts for 25% of the total time needed for the entire 7-figure journey. As compound interest takes over the heavy lifting, the time required to hit each subsequent milestone shrinks. It might take years to reach your first $100,000, but the jump from $900,000 to $1 million can happen in a fraction of that time. Operational rules change at this level. You stop focusing on minor savings and begin prioritizing sophisticated tax optimization and the avoidance of massive leverage traps that could box you in. Passing the 6-figure mark signifies that you are no longer just saving pennies. You are engineering the mathematical momentum required for exponential growth. That momentum eventually carries you to the third threshold, $1 million. This is the inversion point, where your primary objective flips from offense to defense. The math of this inversion is clear. A 20% market swing on $1 million generates $200,000. At this stage, your passive capital routinely out-earns what you can make through active labor. Since your capital provides your income, defense is mandatory. You protect the portfolio by capping exposure to any single asset at 20%, diversifying globally, and using legal structures like LLCs to shield your assets from liability. Protecting your capital is only half the battle. There is a single, often ignored asset that determines if you actually get to use this wealth: your physical health. Statistically, in a group of 1 million people, over 100 will have undiagnosed cancer that is treatable only if caught early. For a millionaire, a missed medical checkup represents a greater statistical risk to their future than a market downturn. Millionaires face a shift in danger. Long-term survival now hinges on structural and physical protection, rather than just capital accumulation. Reaching the fourth threshold of $10 million changes the value of your labor. At this level, continuing to work a traditional job for a paycheck is often a mathematical loss of your remaining time. This stage requires the peace protocol. You shift entirely toward wealth conservation and estate planning, while maintaining a significant cash runway to ensure psychological stability during market volatility. A $10 million portfolio generates enough annual growth that paying someone $1,000 to handle mundane tasks is a profitable trade. You are effectively trading money to reclaim days of your life. A $10 million net worth functions as a significant buffer against external pressures, allowing you to opt out of the stresses that govern the lower brackets. Beyond the $10 million mark, the utility of money begins to flatline. Stacking more capital at this point generally adds complexity and liability rather than increasing daily enjoyment. These financial milestones provide the leverage necessary to buy back your autonomy. The goal is to reach a point where your time is entirely under your own control. Real wealth is measured in controllable time, health, and the freedom to wake up every morning without financial anxiety. You don't need to reach the final 8-figure tier to start this process. You only need to apply the specific rules of your current bracket today. View money as the mathematical tool required to purchase your life back from the system.